If you've got a shot that's blown out or is too bright in some areas, you may be able to recover some of the detail, especially if you're working in RAW format. You can tell when an image is overexposed because it lacks detail in bright areas, and the histogram has data that's completely pushed to the far right edge. With the recovery slider, you can pull the overexposed values back down and restore detail to the areas that are blown out. Another way to recover highlights is with the Curves tool. Choose Curves from the Adjustment pop-up menu and change the range setting to Extended. In this mode, Curves displays a full histogram, including the extended range data from the overexposed parts of the image. Drag the white point slider to the right to bring this data back into range and recover the highlights. To easily identify the parts of an image that are clipped, either too dark or too light, you can also use Aperture's clipping overlays. Hold down the Command key when using the exposure, recovery, or black point sliders, and you'll see a temporary overlay that shows exactly where values are clipped in the image. The overlay disappears as soon as you're done making the adjustment. Aperture's highlight recovery tools help you rescue overexposed photos that would have been unusable otherwise. It's not unusual for images from digital cameras, especially RAW files, to need a little sharpening. Now with the sharpening adjustment tools in Aperture 3, enhancing the fine details in your photos is easier than ever. When sharpening your images, it's best to see them full size. Hit the F key to go into full screen mode, and then position the pointer over an area that you want to see closely and press Z. Press the H key to bring up the Adjustments HUD. Choose Edge Sharpen from the Adjustments pop-up menu. Drag the intensity slider to the right to sharpen the image. You can also move the edge slider to adjust which edges are sharpened. Changing the fall-off value produces a more or less pronounced sharpening effect. For some photos, you may find it useful to apply Edge Sharpen only to certain parts of an image. After adding Edge Sharpen to your adjustments and setting the levels where you want them, choose Brush Edge Sharpen In from the Action menu. Then just brush in the areas that need sharpening. And because everything you do in Aperture is non-destructive, you can always go back later to change the intensity, edges, and fall-off sliders, or any other parameters to dial in exactly the level of sharpening that you need. Aperture's sharpening tools provide the control that you need to quickly sharpen your digital images. When you need to enhance or fix a specific part of an image, the new Brushes feature in Aperture 3 lets you paint in adjustments and effects exactly where you need them. To brush in an adjustment, first choose the adjustment you want from the Adjustment Inspector. For example, the sky in this image could use some color enhancement. Click on the blue hue and drag the saturation slider to the right to get the intensity level you want. You'll see the change on the whole image. Then, from the Action pop-up menu on the Enhance brick, choose Brush Color In. In the Brush HUD, adjust the size, softness, and strength of the brush using the sliders. Now, just paint in the adjustment where you want it. To see exactly which areas are being affected by your brush strokes, you can choose from a number of overlay modes using the Action menu in the Brush HUD. This makes it easy to see if you've missed spots that you want to cover. If you turn on Detect Edges, Aperture will keep your brush strokes from flowing over any hard edges visible in the photo. Use the Eraser tool to remove brush strokes, and the Feather tool to smooth the edges. When you're done, just close the Brush HUD. Even after you've applied an adjustment with the brush, you can always change it later. Just move the sliders on the Adjustment Inspector and the area that you've brushed will show the change. You can even add additional color adjustments and paint them into different areas of the image. The new non-destructive brushes in Aperture 3 give you greater control over every detail in your photos. When you're working with many images at once, the new Lift and Stamp tools in Aperture 3 make it easy to quickly copy adjustments and metadata from one image and apply it to others. For example, these images were shot under similar lighting conditions, so you can save time and use the same white balance adjustment for all of them. Adjust the first image to get it just the way you like. Then select the image and choose the Lift tool. The Lift and Stamp HUD appears, displaying all of the items that have been lifted. If there are items that you don't want copied, uncheck them. To exclude specific parameters, just delete them. In the pop-up menu in the lower left-hand corner, you can also specify whether you want to add the current adjustments to the image or replace the ones that are there. Now simply select the images that you want to apply these settings to and click the Stamp Selected Images button. Lift and Stamp also allows you to batch apply auto adjustments, such as auto exposure or auto levels. Instead of applying specific values for each adjustment, Aperture will auto adjust each image as needed. If you know that you need to transfer only the lifted adjustments or only the metadata from one image to another, you can use the Lift Metadata or Lift Adjustments command from the Metadata menu. Quickly and easily apply complex adjustments to groups of images using the Lift and Stamp tools in Aperture. The new Quick Brushes in Aperture 3 let you apply adjustments exactly where you need them, so you can fix problems or make corrections to specific parts of the image. Click the Quick Brush icon on the Adjustment toolbar and choose the brush you want. Use Retouch to remove unwanted spots and blemishes. In Repair mode, just brush over the spot that you want to remove, and the brush will automatically clean it up, blending it into the surrounding texture and color. In Clone mode, you can use the brush to copy pixels from one area to another. Hold down the Option key to select the source pixels, and then paint over the area that you want to cover. The other quick brushes let you selectively paint in specific adjustments. Use skin smoothing to soften skin textures. When you choose any of these brushes, a brush HUD appears. You can adjust the size, softness, and strength of the brush using the sliders. Then just paint in the adjustment to specific parts of the photo. To see exactly which areas are being affected by the quick brush, you can choose from a number of overlay modes using the Action menu in the Brush HUD. This makes it easy to see if you've missed spots that you want to cover. You can use the Eraser tool to remove brush strokes. And the Feather tool to smooth the edges. Whenever you've added a quick brush, a corresponding new brick appears in the Adjustment panel. Use the sliders on the brick to tweak the effect of the quick brush at any time. If you need to go back and either add or remove any brush strokes that you've already applied, click the small paintbrush icon on the adjustment brick to reopen the brush HUD. Quick brushes give you precise control to remove problems in your photos and make them look great. Because raw images utilize more data for greater detail, browsing takes longer. Aperture takes advantage of the fact that most cameras store a JPEG preview of each image inside the raw file itself. Click on the Quick Preview button on the right-hand side, and your browser will display the JPEG previews of your images. You can move through them by pressing the forward and back arrow keys. You can assign ratings and color labels, add metadata, flag items, and stack your selects as you would in full resolution mode. If you want to adjust or examine an image at full resolution, press P. You can return to Quick Preview mode at any time to resume fast browsing. Aperture's Quick Preview mode lets you quickly start browsing and rating your images even before you've finished importing them.